James Herbert Keenan, also known as
Maynard James Keenan.
Maynard James Keenan. Welcome to the show, man. How in the motherfuck are you? Nah, shit. I wish he was on my show. That'd be an accomplishment in itself, getting him on here. There is some fucking sheep here now. Let me just get rid of these sheep. I'm gonna put them in this door real quick.
Get in. Get in. Come on. Come on, get the fuck in there. Get in the goddamn door.
I am sorry about that. I'm watching my neighbor's sheep while he's away, and they got out of the room that they were in, and I fucking started making all this noise, but I put him away. Although there is one sheep out back with his head stuck in the fence, and I can't get it out. For some reason, my other neighbor was over here in the middle of the night without a shirt or shoes on, and he was doing something to the sheep that was making it scream. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, sorry about that. Maynard James Keenan. Welcome, Knowledge Noggins, to episode 6, as we pick the mind of a man with an eccentric, complex, deep, and very intelligent mind, Maynard James Keenan, who was born April 17th, 1964, to Judith Keenan and Michael Keenan. Maynard, as we all know, is an American singer, songwriter, musician, record producer, actor, and a winemaker. Yeah, he's pretty successful. I still have yet to try some of his wine, but I'm sure it's pretty damn motherfuck tasty. He even named some of his wine after his mother, Judith. And he also has a song called Judith, but hardcore Maynard fans already motherfucking know that shit. He's most known for his rock bands Tool, A Perfect Circle, and Pussifer. I've heard all of them, and they are great. In addition to his music career, Maynard got involved with acting, improvisational sketch comedy, and of course, winemaking, as I stated. He currently owns Merkin Vineyards and the associated winery Caduceus Cellars. He named his vineyard Merkin, which is actually a term for a pubic wig. Yeah, look it up. It's a pube wig that covers your crotch. And they're fantastic. I own a pube wig, and sometimes that's all I wear around the house when I vacuum and do dishes and stuff. Not really. If I lived alone, I might walk around with a pube wig, just let my bush grow out nice and thick. Oh, that's gross. I'm sorry about that. I already have a pube wig. Anyway, caduceus is an ancient symbol of the Greek god Hermes. Maynard has been known to use perversion in his music, such as the song Jerk Off from the Tool album Opiate, and Prison Sex from Tool's Undertow album. That's a great Tool song right there. And his Tool demo tape cover looks like a wrench shaped like a penis. The Anima album, which is a combination of two words, anima, which is Latin for soul, associated with the ideas of life force, and enema, the procedure of injecting fluids up one's rectum hole. Got my S's backwards on that. Rectum's hole. There's even a song on that album called Stinkfist, which sounds perverted in itself. When I hear Stinkfist, my mind tends to go in the gutter. Let's just say, if there was a porno called Stinkfist, I would probably avoid it. You stinky fist.
Fist my stink hole.
Also, his band Pussifer has an album called V is for Vagina, and on that album there's a song called Vagina Mine. You guys want to venture into a vagina mine? What would we find inside of a vagina mine? I'm not sure, but bring your gas masks if you decide. Also, there's a V for Viagra, which was a remix album. Pussifer's album D is for Dubby has a song titled Vagina. They also have an album titled Money Shot, which is well known in the porn industry. If you want to look that up, be my guest, but view at your own discretion. Also, let's not forget the album titled Donkey Punch the Night Away. Since rising to fame, Maynard has been known to be a very private, eccentric individual and referred to as a recluse, but he does emerge periodically for interviews and to do support for charitable causes. Well, that's a great thing to do, Maynard. Maynard's early life was a bit traumatic. He was born into a Southern Baptist family in Ravenna, Ravenna, Ohio, and was an only child. His parents divorced in 1968, which can be hard on any motherfucking kid. His father moved to Scottsville, Michigan, and Keenan only seen him about once a year for the next 12 years. His mother, Judith, later remarried, brought Maynard into an intolerant household that stifled him from his intelligence and creative expression. Keenan's mother suffered a paralyzing cerebral aneurysm in 1976 when Maynard was 11, which would later be the inspiration behind his music like Tool's song Jimmy and Wings for Marie, as well as A Perfect Circle's Judith. She later persuaded Maynard to live with his father in Michigan. Maynard considered that the best move he has ever made. In 1982, Keenan graduated from Mason County Central High School in Scottsville, where he became a member of the wrestling team that his dad also coached. Keenan's career began to evolve as he was inspired by Bill Murray's performance in the 1981 film Stripes. Keenan joined the U.S. Army with intention of having the GI Bill fund his dream of attending art school. At this point, he had lived in Kansas, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Texas. Damn, that's a lot of places to live. He initially served in the Army as a forward observer before studying at West Point Prep School from 1983 to 1984. He completed rigorous math and English curriculum. Maynard wrestled, ran the cross-country team, and sang in the Glee Club. During his time in the military, he adopted the nickname Maynard on a whim, based on a fictional character he created in high school from poetry, I believe. He was distinguished in basic and advanced training, but declined an appointment to West Point, which was a military academy, and instead chose to pursue a music career because of his disillusionment with his colleagues' values, and he knew West Point would not tolerate his disagreements. After completing his term of enlistment, he moved to Somerville, Massachusetts, where his love of animals led him to practice interior design for a pet store. He was transferred to a store in LA, but was quickly fired. I'm not sure why he was fired, but I assume maybe because of his eccentric behavior, and because he's Maynard, maybe. Once he was fired, he began working on set construction for movie sets. During the 80s, Keenan played bass guitar for a band called Texans, or Tex A-N-S, and sang for Children of the Anachronistic Dynasty, which were both independent bands. During this time, he formed the foundation for the song Sober. He also performed with future Tool band member Danny Carey with the band Green Jelly, aka Green Jello. Are you familiar with Green Jello? That song, Three Little Pigs? Did you know Maynard did backup vocals as the first pig? That's awesome, right? I didn't know that. Little pig, let me in. That was a great song. Great song. That's a classic. I remember hearing that song years ago. It's even better knowing Maynard was involved, right? Maynard also made an appearance in Green Jello's song, Slave Boy, as the Billy Bob Hillbilly character. Billy motherfucking Bob. You can YouTube it. You can see Maynard a little bit. He's not actually shown that much in that music video, but he's there. Maynard then met Tom Morello, a member of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave. They even jammed together. Maynard was considered a candidate for the vocalist, which would become Rage Against the Machine. Excuse me, but that didn't happen. I wonder how that would have turned out if Maynard ended up being the vocalist for Rage Against the Machine. Wouldn't that be cool? That could have turned out pretty interesting. After Maynard moved to Los Angeles, he met Adam Jones, the guitarist for Tool. Adam Jones had heard a demo of Maynard singing in college and was impressed with his vocals. Jones suggested they form a band, and Keenan eventually agreed. So in 1991, Tool was formed and released Opiate the following year. Tool toured with Fishbone and Rage Against the Machine, and in 1993, Tool released their album Undertow. Undertow went platinum in less than a year. In 1994, the band released their single Prison Sex, along with a music video directed by Adam Jones. The video was described as too graphic and offensive. and was withdrawn by MTV after it aired a few times due to a symbolic dealing with sensitive subject of child abuse. In October 1996, the band released their second studio album, Anima, and achieved double platinum in 10 months. How would that be? It also won a Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance in 1998. After this release, Tool began an ongoing legal battle with their record label, Volcano Records, over contract violations. Due to this, the members of Tool decided to take some time off. Keenan then went under the alias Gaylord C while collaborating with Tim Alexander of Primus and Mike Borden of Faith No More on Choked, a track that was on the 1997 drumming compilation Flying Traps. It wouldn't be for another 5 years before their next album release, titled Lateralis, in 2001, which of course gained positive reviews. Keenan's intelligent and compelling lyrical twist was revered by many. Lateralis, what the hell am I saying? Lateralis was a worldwide success, reaching the #1 spot in the US Billboard 200 album charts in its debut week, and Tool received their second Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance of 2001 for the song Schism. Also in 2002, Keenan recorded a song called Fallen with 30 Seconds to Mars with the lead singer Jared Leto, and was released on their self-titled debut album. 15 years after the formation of Tool, they gained what was described as a cult following, and in May of 2006, the band released the album 10,000 Days, which Maynard sang more about personal issues. His mother, who had inspired songs like Jimmy on Anima, was also served as the inspiration of Jambi and Wings for Marie, and 10,000 Days, which deals with his mother's death in 2003 after 27 years of pain, or around 10,000 days of suffering. That's a lot of days. The album sold over 564,000 copies in its opening week, and yet again hit #1 spot on Billboard 200 charts. So after releasing 10,000 Days, Tool has one album remaining to be made under their record contract. There isn't much information on this next album. The band is steadily working towards its 5th studio release. I'm looking forward to that. I hope it's going to be the shit. Tool has worked around Maynard since he has a few side projects like, A Perfect Circle and Puss Fur and his Vineyard. But in 2007, Maynard stated, "We'll make music together until one of us is dead." So, that's a good sign. Gives us hope that they will continue with Tool greatness. The greatness of Tool will continue. On March 24th, 2009, a summer tour was announced on Tool's website. Also, on Tool's website, the webmaster posted the following. He said, quote, "Something that might be encouraging to some Tool enthusiasts is that while riding with Danny to Chili John's yesterday, I heard a lot of new Tool music. This was the most new material that I've heard so far, although a few of the riffs and arrangements were familiar. So what did I think? Dare I say that it sounded like Tool? Some of it is reminiscent to earlier Tool stuff, with other parts pushing the envelope. Push the envelope. Watch it bend. And I assume that it will sound even more like Tool once the vocal, melodies, etc. have been added. To answer your next question, I cannot say how far along the writing process the band is. If I had to guess, I would say more than halfway. And keep in mind that in the past, at least, the writing went faster once the first few more complex songs were finished. Unquote. So there you go. What it sounds like is Tool's about halfway through their 5th studio album, and I, for one, am excited as a motherfucker. A Perfect Circle. During Tool's post-Anima hiatus to deal with the legal issues, Maynard began working with the supergroup A Perfect Circle and began performing in 1999, releasing its first album, Mer des Noms, in 2000, followed up by 13th Step in 2003. 13th Step was a reference to a 12-step program from the perspective of recovery. Both albums went platinum, of course. In 2004, Emotive was mainly cover songs, except for singles like Counting Bodies Like Sheep to the Rhythm of the War Drums. This album didn't get as much praise due to its content, but it did reach gold status 1 month after its release. The same year, they released the DVD and CD set titled Emotion, or A-Motion, which was a remix album. It reached platinum status within a month of its release, and I think that remix album is fucking great. I like the remix. Excuse me. Maynard was interviewed in 2006 by Revolver magazine regarding A Perfect Circle's status, and Maynard said that Tool and A Perfect Circle operate the same way, so he gave the band a break and eventually got back to working with the band. And they just released a new album called Eat the Elephant, even though Maynard has stated there probably wouldn't be another album previously, but there was. And I'm glad it was released because I think it's pretty fucking good. I personally like the song Eat the Elephant. It has a chill vibe, and I love the piano and the vocals that go along with that. I think it's really good. You guys ought to check out Eat the Elephant song on Eat the Elephant album. That brings us to Pussifer. In 2003, Maynard risen with the name Pussifer for the song Rev 2220 on the Underworld film soundtrack. It would be considered Keenan's creative subconsciousness, the stream of consciousness, and an anything goes project. He stated that Pussifer is more about groove-oriented feel-good music opposed to Tool's thinking man's music. Keenan did not want the lyrics to be puzzles. He wanted complexity to be in the music that would make you feel good. Keenan financed and released the first album, V is for Vagina, in October 2007, created in a tour bus, several hotel rooms, and several studios around the country while Maynard toured with Tool. Oh, that's cool. He's just making music in his tour bus and shit. Tim Alexander, the drummer for Primus, was a guest on the album and said it was a complete 180 from Tool. Pussifer is also a clothing line available on their website. I should get a shirt. I'd like a motherfucking shirt. There is even a Pussifer shop in Jerome, Arizona that opened on October 3rd, 2008, where you can buy merchandise, coffee, art, and limited edition collectibles. I think it's about time to go on a road trip. I want to go check that shit out. Jerome, Arizona. That's not too far away. I'd totally buy some things, man. On October 18th, 2011, Maynard released Pussifer's second album, Conditions of My Parole, which received favorable reviews on Metacritic and was described as a fine piece of cold weather headphone music. Later, on February 19th, 2013, Keenan released the album Donkey Punched the Night Away, which had mixed reviews and only had a 62% on Metacritic. Let's get into some of Maynard's writing and performance style, shall we? He had a desire to connect with the fans on personal level and professional level, trying to encourage them to look within themselves for self-identity, understanding, and reflection. Maybe that's why I liked Tool so much. Made me think. I love things that make me think and look within myself. The lyrics on the albums Anima and Lateralis focused on philosophy, spirituality, and transcendence. Tool fans would know that Maynard likes to hang in the back of dark areas while he's on stage without a spotlight, as opposed to being up front near the fans, being lit up by a big-ass spotlight. This helped Maynard express his emotions for the audience instead of being distracted by the glare of lights. He preferred the shadows. He's a shadow man. No distractions. One show from Tool, a fan climbed on stage and tried to hug Maynard, but Maynard simply tossed him down to the ground and held the fan while he continued to sing the entire time, later turning him to his stomach and sitting on the fan's back for quite some time. The fan raised his fist up in celebration while Maynard sat on him, and I would too. If that was a fan, if I was the fan, I'd be super stoked if Maynard sat on me. That kid was probably drunk as shit, and he might not remember much, But it would be hard not to remember Maynard James Keenan sitting on your back while he continued to sing. That would be the motherfucking shit. Sometimes Maynard would have mohawk hairstyles, wigs, masks, bras even, and tights. Sometimes his body would be completely blue in body paint. Long-haired wigs were used mainly in A Perfect Circle shows. So he's got quite the personality. Winemaking. Maynard's grandparents and great-uncle actually made wine in northern Italy, and Maynard owns Merkin Vineyards and Caduceus Cellars, as we stated above, which is southwest of Sedona, Arizona, where he currently resides. Following Maynard's mother's death, he scattered her ashes across one of his vineyards, honoring her memory with the wine he created, and her wine was a Cabernet Sauvignon called Negal del Judith. In April 2009, Maynard released a statement, and this is what he said, quote, "I am standing on a metaphorical plateau. The view from here suggests that we still have many mountains to negotiate. It has already been a long journey, but the successes and failures have been in balance, which should suggest that we have chosen the correct path. I hold in my hands the evidence to support this statement. With tears in my eyes, I present to you the very first 100% Arizona Caduceus wine, Negal del Judith, named after my late mother, Judith Marie," unquote. His previous wines were named after relatives of an Apache chief who lived in the area where the vineyard is located and were produced at Page Springs Cellars, which is owned by Keenan's business partner. What makes his mother's wine, Negal del Judith, distinct from the others is that it was made 100% from Keenan's own vineyard, and his other wines were made from some fruits imported from California. In 2008, Maynard, a tour with his Stronghold Vineyards partner Eric Glomsky, promoting his wine with signing at Whole Food markets in California and Nevada. July of 2009, Maynard opened an organic market which features a toasting room for his Arizona wines as well as a food court. There is a documentary featuring Maynard called Blood into Wine, the Arizona Stronghold, which goes into detail about Maynard's and Glomsky's journey into winemaking in the conditions of Arizona desert and the success since its conception. The film features appearances of Tim and Eric, like Tim and Eric, Totally Awesome Show, Great Job, or whatever the fuck it's called, Patton Oswalt, and Mila Jovovich, and was shown at the Noise Pop Festival on February 25th, 2010. Oh, I want some wine right now. Anybody got some wine? In 2013, Maynard announced he is working on an autobiography, and he stated, quote, "I think there are a lot of misconceptions with some people that all of a sudden I was born when my first band came out. I actually had a life before that, and there were a lot of accomplishments. This book will kind of chronicle why it is I got to where I am and why I got to where you knew about me," unquote. Keenan's biography, A Perfect Union of Contrary Things, was released on November 8th, 2016. Keenan has done some charitable work. He has used his voice to support charitable causes. He performed at a 1997 benefit concert, RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. He is one notable performer of Axis of Justice, which is a nonprofit organization that brings musicians, fans of music, and grassroots political organizations together to fight for social justice. Keenan appeared as a surprise vocalist at a Seattle benefit concert for victims of the 2004 earthquake and tsunami in southern Asia, performing with the reformed Alice in Chains in place of the late, great Lane Staley. Maynard James Keenan, a great entrepreneur, musician, artist, actor, producer, creator, and an overall great, smart individual. Well, Knowledge Noggins, that brings us to our next segment. Interesting facts of
Maynard James Keenan. Interesting facts.
How interesting. Interesting fact number 1. In high school, Herbert James Keenan wrote poetry, which is where his nickname Maynard came from, and he adopted that name while he was in the military. Oh, that's interesting, right?
Interesting fact number 2.
He idolized the band Kiss. At school, he made a ceramic face of Gene Simmons, but growing up in a Southern Baptist family, his father and stepmom worried that KISS was an acronym for Knights in Satan's Service, and that Maynard was a degenerate.
You better get your ass back in there, sheep!
Interesting fact number 3. In the military, Maynard was an artillery surveyor, plotting escape routes for his battery during warfare. Once he was out of the military, he immediately got a mohawk. It's like, fuck you. I'm getting a mohawk, motherfuck mohawk. Interesting fact number 4. He liked birds. He worked at a pet shop in LA and once kept a turkey he named Butterball.
Get over here, Butterball!
Interesting fact number 5. He took acting classes twice and failed. Even after forming Tool, he took acting classes and lessons. Kind of under the radar, I believe. Interesting fact number 6. Maynard taught Tom Morello drop D tuning prior to forming Raids Against the Machine. Oh, that's pretty cool. Kind of thought he would, know that. Interesting fact number 7. Maynard is a father, and it was an accident. He was surprised when an ex-girlfriend told him she was pregnant. He was born in 1995, and his name was Devo. And Maynard actually had a daughter later on as well. Interesting fact number 8. Fascinated by spirituality, Maynard went to a native reservation and took part in a peyote ceremony inside a teepee that he helped build, and it lasted all night. Oh, peyote in a teepee, peyote in a teepee. Interesting fact number 9. Steve Jobs fed Maynard baby food while he was sleeping in a tent after the two decided to go camping together to play video games and play Monopoly while gazing at the stars. Maynard woke up to realize what was happening, and the both of them just started laughing and laughing, calling each other silly and tickling each other, rolling around, having a pillow fight. No, of course not. That didn't happen at all, actually. Anywho, that brings us out of interesting facts. But what a guy, huh? Maynard James Keenan. He has accomplished so much, and I think anybody would like to be him, and he is a big inspiration for tons of people. Even growing up for a time in a Baptist family, he rose to great fame, probably beyond his expectations. But he knows who he is, he knows what he is what he is, and he is aware of that. Maynard knows who the fuck Maynard is. Back when he joined the military to afford art school to what he is now is astounding and quite the accomplishment. I'm looking forward to the new Tool album. I'm looking forward to the new Tool album that is expected to release here in 2018, supposedly. Let's hope so, anyway. Well, let's hope so. So that'll do it. Knowledge Noggins, as always. Thank you for tuning in. Episode 7, I'm thinking of maybe doing history of video games. I'm not quite sure yet, but I hope you are tuning in for that one. So I hope you enjoyed picking the mind of Maynard James Keenan, even though we'll never really know what is inside that mind of his. Much love and peace out.